Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new Call of Duty Warzone mobile video, and in today's video we're going to be back ranking the SMGs, and specifically all the SMGs, which includes the new ISO 45 SMG from Season 4 that was released last week. And so I had a chance to play with all the SMGs inside of Warzone mobile for a few months now, including the new SMG, and we're going to be ranking all the SMGs S through F, and just seeing sort of where they lie within this tier list, and just sort of recognizing some of the most powerful SMGs, some of the more mid SMGs, and then obviously denoting some of the worst SMGs in the game. So without further ado, let's get on straight into the video. So starting off, we're going to be talking about the Vel 46. The Vel 46 is one of the best SMGs in the game for a few reasons. Number one, it's a really high fire rate. Number two, a really good close range mechanical maneuvering when you're in buildings, when you're outside, and when you're fighting on rough terrain. It's actually a really good SMG. You're really mobile too, so it's actually a really lightweight SMG as well. And you can put on a 50 round extended mag on it, as well as just also putting a 60 round extended mag. Now obviously you don't need to go that much with the ammunition in general, because obviously the more ammunition you put on, it's going to reduce your mobility, but 50 rounds for the Vel is definitely doable. And considering you're gonna have to get through a squad of an enemy squad that has 4 sets of plates, which is obviously going to be 12 if you do the math. So trying to down people and get thirst is going to be really difficult when you're challenging people. So just having that extra 50 bullets definitely helps when you're trying to do a 1v3 or a 1v4 type of situation. So I think with this SMG, and this is also a fan favorite SMG as well inside of Warzone 2 as well, and on Warzone Mobile I see a lot of people using this, including myself. So for that, I'm going to start this off by putting it into S tier. I definitely think it is a very good weapon to put in this list in the S tier. So moving on, we do have the MX9. I've used the MX9 quite a bit. It's a very good close range gun. But the thing about it is, what makes this gun with this SMG really bad is that it's really not something you would want to use over some of the other SMGs on this list. So it's only really good just for some close range engagements. I would say probably this gun really thrives when you're in a building. So when you're fighting on staircases and things of that nature, and you're just like in these little tight compartment areas, and you're kind of holding a really cheeky angle inside of the game. So and also the magazine size is really bad. I would say that the magazine size, even if you throw an extended mag on it, you only get 30 bullets, and 30 bullets is only enough to really, down one enemy and maybe down the second one if you land all your shots, and even then you're going to have to reload and then get the thirst. So, there's not really that much versatility to it. The only unique thing about this gun, very similar to the STB assault rifle, is that it has a built-in grip, so you save one attachment there. But honestly, I'm going to put this gun in F tier, because like I said, it's not an SMG that you would put in your loadout, right? It's probably one of those SMGs that you would maybe use it for a sniper support when using overkill. But honestly, guys, there's other better SMGs here on this list that will do you more justice. Moving on to the Lachmann Sub. Lachmann Sub is absolutely phenomenal. This is probably the literally the best close range and medium range SMG in the game. I mean, you can also kind of push the limits further beyond the medium range limit, but it's not, it's crazy, right? So, I've used this gun. I mean, a lot of outplaying ability to it. Very similar to the Vel in that regard. You can put on a 50 round drum mag as well, which is absolutely phenomenal. So you combine that. And also, I forgot to mention as well, when you combine that, type of extended ammunition package with sort of the overpressured ammo type, which will make your enemies flinch, phenomenal combination. Because like I said, these, like I said, the Lachmann Sub and the Vel, they both thrive in that regard when you build them like that. And so for that reason, just the Lachmann Sub is just great in all those departments and does a lot of damage, and probably has one of the highest time to kills in the game for an SMG. Is really good. So for that reason, I'm going to put this gun above the Vel in S tier, because I definitely think it's a little bit better than the Vel, due to the fact that you have that medium range capacity to it, and also just sort of extending that extensive long range gunfighting capacity that the Vel just doesn't really have, because you don't really want to push the limits with that gun, otherwise you're going to get caught lacking. But with the Lachmann Sub, you have a little bit more flexibility in that range department, to where you can kind of challenge and put some damage into your enemy opponents. Moving on towards the Vaznev 9K, this SMG is all right. I definitely think it's pretty good. It's more of a medium to long range gun. And what I mean by long range, I'm really probably maxing it on like 15 to 18-ish meters. I really wouldn't even go to 20. And you know, you can put on an extended mag of 45 rounds, which is okay, and you know, you combine that with the overpressure, it's still pretty good. I would say medium range wise is definitely one of the best medium range SMGs you want to use in the game. Close range doesn't really do a whole lot of justice. That's why, for example, you're going to want to go with the Lachmann, you're going to want to go with the Vel over the Vaznev, because they're just better in that department. Because when you're using an SMG, right, you're going to want to use this in a close range setting. So if you're trying to go for a medium range gunfight with an SMG, the Vaznev is definitely going to be up there for you. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put the Vaznev probably in the A tier for now, just due to the fact that I think it deserves to be in that spot. It's definitely a good SMG. It has a lot of utility towards it. You can build it more extensively in the longer range department, but like I said, you're going to definitely want to use maybe some other SMGs that will provide you more value there. So for the fifth SMG on this list, we have the FSS Hurricane. Now, the FSS Hurricane is a really unique SMG because it only has one ammunition type, which is 50 rounds default on it, which is still pretty good. I think the iron sights are also good. This gun, I remember using this when I first downloaded Warzone Mobile. I thought that this was the best gun in the game, but obviously, you know, after when you play for a while and you use different guns and you figure out that there's, you know, better guns, you know, but this gun is not the best gun in the game. So, but I really like this SMG. I think this SMG holds a lot of value because it's pretty good close range, I would say. It's fairly decent, pretty good medium range, and really good long range. Long range, you can definitely do some damage on this if you build it in that regard, so because you have that capability. And plus, since you don't have to, you know, put an ammunition attachment on it to increase the magazine size, 50 rounds automatically coming forth with this gun is definitely, you know, a huge W. Iron sights are phenomenal. You don't really need to put a red dot on this gun either. So for those reasons, I think I'm going to go ahead and put the FSS Hurricane in probably maybe the B tier. I think it deserves B tier. I don't think it's quite in the A tier just yet, due to the fact that it doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. And like I said, you know, we have that Vaznev at A tier because it has that little bit of a damage component that the FSS Hurricane is lacking, even though they're pretty fast fire rate guns as well. But for a ground loot weapon, when you find, you know, the FSS Hurricane in the beginning of the game, for a ground loot weapon, early game, mid game, really good, really good. Definitely won't hurt you to, you know, to use it early game. So yeah, talking about the Mini-Bax, really good SMG as well, kind of very similar to the FSS Hurricane. I would argue it's probably a little bit worse than the FSS Hurricane. I think the FSS Hurricane is a little bit better because, like, you know, just damage wise, it's just there. Overall, I would say in terms of, you know, the usability towards it, really good medium range. It's actually really just good in the medium range department. Close range, it's kind of meh. Doesn't really do you a whole lot of justice. You can't really get things going. It's going to be really hard to kind of 1v2, 1v3 with this gun. Definitely going to need to have some other utility to back you up when you're using a gun like this that doesn't really do a whole lot of damage. Plus the fire rate's pretty moderate, even though it's pretty quick, but you know, 50 to 60 rounds on this gun, you know, it doesn't really excite me all that much. But I think a lot of people would probably put this maybe in the B or A tier, but I would definitely probably put this in the C tier. I think it's one of the lower end SMGs that you can use in the game. I just don't think it's that crazy of an SMG. Honestly, if it wasn't for its magazine size, I would also put it in F tier, but that's just me. I think it goes in C. So next up, the ISO 45 SMG, the new SMG that came this season in Season 4 for Warzone Mobile. I would say it's the best gun in the game right now, the best SMG in the game right now. So you know, it's really good. I think overall, when you do happen to use this gun, it's a really good close range, really good medium range. Can't really do a whole with it long range. It's going to be really hard because of the recoil pattern on this gun. It has a lot of recoil to it. So if you're going to try to challenge people long range, you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time. So this is only good medium range and close range, and it has the highest damage out of any SMG in the game, and because of that, you can also put on a 50 round mag as well, or no, a 45 round magazine as well to it, which is going to be really good, and it provides a lot of value there. And you can down multiple enemies, you can sort of 1v3, 1v4 as well. But in terms of its all around usability, versatility to it, I think one thing about it that's pretty negative is that if you're going to want to use, you probably might want to look into using a red dot on this gun, because the iron sights are a little bit intrusive. They're very, very big. They can kind of impede your field of vision. So if you want to just have a clean, nice red iron sight, put it on there, just having like maybe a foregrip, you know, obviously the overpressure hammer time with that 45 round extended mag, you're gonna be doing justice. So, you know, for that reason, it's really good late game as well. I mean, it just rips through people just like within seconds, and like I said, it just has the fastest TTK out of any SMG here on this list. So for that reason, I'm gonna put it in S tier as well, above the Lachmann. I mean, the Lachmann just falls short of that, like right at second. So, but overall, we're doing so good. The PDSW. The PDSW is a very interesting gun. It's like one of those, you know, sort of ground loot weapons, like the Mini-Bax, the Hurricane, right? Like the Mini-Bax and the Hurricane, for example. I think overall, the PDSW, with its 50 round base magazine capacity and its ability to do really well in the medium range department as well, close range it does actually fairly decent. It's pretty good. I would probably put this gun in the A tier. I think the A tier does it well. I think right behind the Vaznev maybe, due to the fact that it has that damaging component to it that you definitely need in the early game, mid game as well. Like I said, if you find this gun really early when you drop to a location, pick it off the ground, find it in a chest, you kind of challenge some opponents, you're gonna kill them pretty quickly. Because like I said, they're, you know, this gun is really good. You know, it's one of those really high value loot weapons, ground loot weapons in the game. So, you know, overall with the starting baseline mag like this, and plus it has that, you know, damage component that the Hurricane and the Mini-Bax don't have. So for those reasons, it's going to do you a lot more justice. So right behind the Vaznev is going to be where I'm going to put that at. Moving on towards the BAS-P. The BAS-P is a very interesting weapon. It's like a close range SMG with some really horrendous recoil to it. Don't really like the iron sights on it. You can still put a 50 round draw mag on it. It's almost, you know, it's in that area between being the Vel and then being the Lachmann Sub. It's sort of like that SMG that's in the middle between those two weapons, and I think it does a really poor job in there. And I just don't think it's that good. I have not seen anyone be like, yeah, let's throw on a BAS-P, you know, for a support SMG for a sniper or an LMG or an AR, and let's just cause some mayhem. No, I don't think this is the case. I think overall, when we're talking about some of the best SMGs in the game, this thing falls and just, you know, fails completely. However, because you have that ability to put on a 50 round modification to it, it's definitely better than the MX9. It's only good close range, and honestly, close range still could need a little, you still could use a little bit of work. Medium range, not good. Recoil pattern, off the charts, horrible. Definitely gonna need a grip, and iron sights are terrible. So for those reasons, I'm gonna put it behind the Mini-Bax in C tier. It's not quite F tier though. But it's almost there. Like if you couldn't put on a 50 round option on this gun, then it would be an F tier for sure. So, you know, overall, I think we're going to put the BAS-P there. And so we're going to be moving on to the last SMG on this list, which is going to be the Fennec 45. The Fennec 45 is, you know, a classic SMG in all of Call of Duty, especially from Warzone 1 to Warzone 2. It's probably one of the best close range SMGs in the entire game, but because there's, you know, the other S tier weapons on this list, like the ISO 45, the Lachmann Sub, and the Vel, they just have so much versatility to them, and the utility that they provide within the medium, close range, and long range departments just supersede what the Fennec can provide. And the Fennec is really a one niche specific weapon where you can only challenge people close range. You can really only do so much with this weapon. Recoil pattern's okay. Iron sights are pretty good. You know, definitely vouch. You can definitely put on a 50 round drum mag on this gun as well. But overall, I would say that this gun is, you know, since it doesn't have anything other than, you know, the close range department to it, it's not really going to provide you a lot of value. However, it's still a really good ground loot gun nonetheless. So that being said, I'm going to put this in the B tier as well, just behind the FSS Hurricane. And yeah, so this is going to be our tier list. These are all, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 total SMGs inside of Warzone Mobile, all ranked. I think this is a fairly you know, like I said, adjusted list. I think this is a fair list. I think depending on what we talked about today and how we looked at the weapons in terms of the SMG style and sort of my philosophical continuity of how I like to approach and the overall synopsis that I gave on each weapon and why they deserve to be in each tier, I think it's fair. But yeah, like I said, if you guys have made it this far towards the end of the video, let me know in the comment section down below if you guys agree with this tier list or where you would put some of the SMGs inside, you know, the S through F categories. Yeah, more tier lists in the future. And with that being said, guys, this has been your boy Vader, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.